Is it necessary that every father and every son has to have some kind of angst? This big man is occupying too much space and that man thinks this is my space and who's this? This happens that there will be some friction and either the younger one goes out or the older one goes out. It also happens between women in a different way. But women have a way of covering their frictions in certain way.
When we talk about family, Sadhguru, there are few things that have always intrigued me, and I seek answers or rather validation from a higher energy such as yourself. It's like I've always questioned why there's an organic distance between a father and son, why there is always that angst in that relationship. And I'm sure there are many in this house that have experienced that emotion in their own homes and their own environment. Where do you think the origin of that distance came?
Because every generation makes the same mistake which means they're not learning at all. Yeah. When we say family, in Italy, family meant crime.
Crime?
Yeah, mafia was always referred to as the family.
Family.
Yes. So in a way, it's a kind of crime. It is the most basic institution in the making of a society, but it does not mean you must remain basic, because this is a biological identity that we have. Biology is a reality, we can't deny it. Obviously, this was in some way, at least to a certain extent, our parents gave this to us, one part of it at least. Today the way it is, the way it looks is essentially because of them. Well, it was given to them by somebody else, that's another point, but to us it was given by them. So it's a biological identity. This limiting oneself to one's biological identity for an entire lifetime is a crime, because it creates so many things. In this country has suffered a lot from a long time. Just now you released the Mahabharata video. Entire Mahabharata is family problem. It is Dhritarashtra syndrome. We are still suffering. My son is best, no matter what. Even today we are suffering the same thing. My son is best and he should become the king no matter what. It's not just…
Some sons haven't managed very well, some have.
So, family is a basic identity that we are born with. It's a wonderful thing when you're a child, because without that family support, you wouldn't be who you are today in many ways, okay? With all due respect and regard and great respect for the family, because human creature is born in such a way that as soon as you fall out of your mother's womb, you're not ready to get up on your feet and do things like other creatures. It needs a long gestation period before a man becomes a man or a woman becomes a woman. There is a long period where the incubation of family is most important and vital, there's no question about that. But you're supposed to grow beyond that identity. But a whole lot of people just never grow beyond that identity, for which they suffer, and sometimes if they're born in certain places, they make the entire nation suffer. You are supposed to grow out of that. As a child, it's most vital that you're identified with the family. But as an adult, you're supposed to grow beyond your biology, because biology is the most basic identity. One has to grow beyond that. So having said that, is it necessary that every father and every son has to have some kind of angst? It is not about father and son, it is just two men being accommodated in the same home. When you were 8, 10, your father was godlike. So this problem started after you became 15, 16, when you want to be a man and there's not enough space. This big man is occupying too much space and that man thinks this is my space and who's this? They can't recognize each other as father and son because Now there is no father and son, there are two men in the same house and there's not enough space. This happens not just in human families, every creature, whether it's an elephant or a buffalo or whatever, in every creature's life, this happens that there will be some friction and either the younger one goes out or the older one goes out. This happens everywhere because this is not a problem between father and son. This is two men trying to share the same space and the same woman called mother to one and wife to the other.
Two men. Well, that certainly breaks a very strong myth that this country is operated with, because the problem was always meant to be two women in the same house, and you just changed it on its head, which I believe is true. Because I believe the problem lies in the fact that two men can't be accommodated.
No, it also happens between women in a different way.
Yeah.
But women have a way of covering their frictions in certain way. They do it in a certain way, in a feminine way.
Yeah.
Men will do it in more head-on.
Yeah.
Head-butting is the man's way. Woman's way is different, she will do it differently, but the friction happens.